Hello and welcome back, and welcome to this month's Ponderings from the Polytunnel. It's October and the temperatures and the weather have changed dramatically but beautifully. I really love this time of year with the autumn leaves tumbling down and it's starting to feel, nippy. We've had a fire in a couple of times. Yeah, it's just lovely. Really enjoying this season. In the garden, lots still going on. I've got my overwintering onions in the ground. You can see these naked bean arches around me, so the beans are now harvested and they've all been processed and they're in the freezer. We had a bumper harvest this year. I've also got all my pumpkin and squash in, so I'd harvested those and then I had them in the open-ended barn on some tables for a while, and now they've all been completely wiped over and they're up in the spare room, and we've got a really good supply. I have continued with my wild swimming, and I'm so proud to say that still now we're coming to the end of October, but I'm still getting in that water, and it's quite a shock when you first get in, but because I keep going every week as the temperature drops, my body is acclimatizing. And also, once you actually start swimming, it's such a wonderful feeling and your muscles soon warm up. And I make sure that, I wrap up and drink a hot drink as soon as I get out. And it's just absolutely invigorating. If you get the opportunity to wild swim, I cannot recommend it highly enough. Moving on to the animals, so the horses are doing absolutely fine. We've just done a little bit of jiggery pokery moving them around. We have, fortunately, I was a little bit worried about grazing and not having enough for them over the winter months, but we did have some warm wet weather and the fields have flushed up. So we've just moved the big boys into one of the top fields, and Pony will follow at a later date, little Sunny, but at the moment he's in his little paddock that's specifically built for him, which we've been resting, so there's a little bit of grass in there but not too much. And they had their Garth and Sunny had their 6-month teeth check with my fabulous equine dentist. Garth and Sunny had some issues with his teeth when we got him, even though he was very young, and Garth's an older boy now, so they have theirs done every 6 months. And Fish has lovely teeth and no issues, so he gets his done once a year. So it was Garth and Sunny's turn, and I was so proud of Sunny because he was virtually unhandleable when we first got him. The vet first came to check him over and give him his first vaccination, and they couldn't even get close enough to him just to even put their hands on him or put the stethoscope on him. So now to see him, just standing there like a good boy with his mouth open with the gag, which is a bit of a scary implement, and it looks scarier than it is. It's just to help to keep their mouth open so that the dentist can work. But for him to just stand and tolerate that, he was the best he's ever been, and I was so proud of him. The houndies, the dogs, are doing grand. Kay has just had her latest cardiology checkup, and there's always going to be slow progression of her heart disease, but as we hoped and as the last few checkups have been, the progression, the medication basically is slowing it down, and they were really pleased with her. So she's and she had her 24-hour heart monitor on, and we've had the results back from that, and everything's as good as it could be. Kaylee's absolutely grand. So they're doing really well. At the same time as moving the horses round, I've also moved the sheep now, so the sheep are now in the menage field next to the stables, and we'll leave them in there until they've munched that down, and we'll see them for as long as we can before we put them down into their real winter pasture, where they spend the sort of second half and the colder months of the winter. Chickens, at the moment, we've had to step up our biosecurity, so super careful with the chickens at the moment, making sure they're not coming into contact with wild birds as best we can. So whilst they're not fully locked down, it is a case of washing and disinfecting all their feeders and waterers, making sure they're fed undercover away from where there are wild birds or wild bird droppings, but you know, the cases are just popping up left, right and centre all over the country, and you know, it's only a matter of days, I think now, certainly no longer than weeks before we have to lock them down for a period of time, but at the moment they're out and they're happy and they're healthy. And as I mentioned previously, because we've put this new structure in place that we put in last year, even when we have to lock them down, at least they'll have a decent area to be closed up in, so it's not as bad. But they're still laying really well. We're getting plenty of eggs. And Victor is doing really well. I don't know if any of you out there are tortoise owners. I am a veterinary nurse and I am aware that that tortoises should hibernate, but it isn't too detrimental to skip a few. Depending on the breed of the tortoise, he's a Horsfields, so he can miss a hibernation. And because we don't really know his history and we really want to get to know him and we haven't had him long, we are actually not hibernating him this season. We're keeping him awake, and he's perfectly happy. And you know, we're growing bits and bobs for him here in the polytunnel. I've got these little pansies here which he absolutely adores. We've also got in here some various other leaves for him, but I've planted up 2 pots with plantain because that's a really good forage feed for him, so that when there's less outside to forage through the winter months, we've got some in here. We're going to sow and grow some dandelions for him as well, but there's plenty outside at the moment, and he's really happy. He's doing really well. He's really settled in. Work, I'm absolutely loving it. I can't believe it. It's fantastic. So I've started a new nurse, and I've done a full induction with her, which is pretty intense because I have to put some extra hours in, but so worth it. She's really shaping up. She's a lovely girl, and she's going to make a fabulous out of hours nurse. It's all new to her because she's worked in a day clinic, but she was passionate about out of hours. She really wanted to get into it, and I think she's going to really, really be an asset to our team. So that's just fabulous. And I also have a new vet. I have a new principal vet. So now I've got a buddy, a wingman, whatever you want to call her. And she's absolutely brilliant. She's actually a friend of mine. She's somebody who I've known for a long time. She's younger than me. And I met her when she was actually a vet student at the animal hospital where I worked. She was coming for, she used to work at night doing some reception. And I used to get her to come and see any interesting cases, or you know, if there was something going on in theatre, so long as she could still get to that phone and answer and take calls. And if we had people coming down that she was in reception, I was always happy for her to come and get, you know, hands on some patients and get some experience. So I kind of mentored her quite some years ago now. So to have her now working alongside me as a qualified vet, just brilliant. And she's such a wonderful person, and we think the same way, and I'm so excited. So yeah, that, and it's really lifted the workload for me. So we've now got 3 full-time nurses, so we're fully staffed nurse wise. We've got 1.5, if you like, if you will, vets, because one of our fabulous vets who's been with us almost from when we opened, she just works part-time, and now we've got our new principal vet. So we still need at least 1, if not 1.5 vets. And I'm just in the throes of sorting out my support crew as well. So, you know, reception, animal care assistants and such like. So that's my next job. And then we'll have a full team. But the clinic's going from strength to strength. I'm really happy. And I've had some cracking shifts of late. So that's just wonderful. And I can't go much further without saying thank you so much to all of you that have subscribed to me. I can't believe I've finally reached and gone over 1,000 subscribers, and honestly, I can't tell you how much that means to me. You know, some of you have been with me right back from the beginning, and you know, I look back at some of my old videos and they make me cringe, but you know, you stayed with me and you've watched me grow and develop in, you know, my filming and editing style, and also, you know, just me as a human being. So thank you so much. And I can't also miss the opportunity to a wonderful person who is also a fellow YouTuber who helped to give me a little boost, and that is the amazing Danny. Danny has a channel. He is the Grapevine Garden, and he is just awesome. He's funny, but he also knows his stuff. You know, he knows how to grow. He's got a lovely lot. In fact, he's got 2 plots now. So check out Danny. I will leave a link if you don't already know Danny. A lot of you I know have come over from Danny, but I know some of my subs from the early days might not know Danny, so do go and check out his channel. And also Jane Kelly from Jane's Allotment and Tony O'Neill from Simplified Gardening. They've been so supportive, not just of recently. I mean, Danny I've met more recently, but Jane and Tony I've known for a number of years, and they've always supported me. And yeah, just big shout out, big thank you. So I'm sure you already know their channels, but if you don't, go and check them out. They've got a huge amount of knowledge, and they've got some fabulous videos out there, so go and check them out. And last night Danny did his first live, and we really enjoyed it. We had such a lovely time. So it was myself, Jane, Tony, and obviously Danny. It's his channel, and we were on the live chat, and there were so many people jumped on board, and it was a really lovely evening. So again, hop over to Danny's channel and check that out, because it's available now to catch up with. And it was a really, really entertaining and lovely time, and I hope that, you know, we shared a lot of our knowledge, but also you guys out there also put some cracking comments on, and it's a great way to share knowledge on these live chats. So go and rewatch that if you can. And then on to other areas. So what have we been watching? So the latest thing we've been watching is Criminal Minds, and we're really enjoying that. I love, you know, a good crime series. It's a little bit samey, isn't it, each, but I think that's kind of what we like, isn't it, to relax to. You can pop a couple of episodes on at the end of a long day, or when you don't really want to concentrate too hard, and Chris and I really enjoy watching that together. And reading, I can't believe I'm going to say this, I think this might be the 3rd month of Ponderings in a row I'm still reading Sally Rooney, or should I say I'm not reading Sally Rooney. And it's not because I don't like the book, it's just because I've been so busy. But so at the moment I've got Sally Rooney's Conversations with Friends, and it is really good. I think I might go back to the beginning and start again, but you know, the winter's here now, and I'm going to have a bit more time now that things have eased off at work, so I really do want to get my head back in that book and finish it. But what I've also got, as I've got another Sally Rooney, I've got the next one, which is Normal People. I've got a big pile of to read books. So I've got Tara Westover, Educated. I've got Richard Osman, Thursday Night Murder Club. I've got Sally Page, The Keeper of Stories, and Ivana Lynch, The Opposite of Butterfly Hunting. And they're on my pile of to read books. So if I get back into my reading at the rate that I normally do, I'll easily get through those over the coming months. We always, you know, go out and walk the dogs. They don't go on big walks anymore. Combination of Kay with her heart and Kaylee being on 3 legs, and you know, she's getting an older lady now. She's into double figures. So we do like to take them out, and actually we took them recently round a local lake. It was just a little trundle out in the car, and they really enjoyed that. But we've also been going out a little bit more. We had a cracking walk, Chris and I, recently. It was a circular loop. I mean, it wasn't miles and miles. I think it was 6 or 7 kilometres, round a local mere, not the mere where I swim, but one just a little bit further away. It was just like a 15-20 minute drive, and it was absolutely fabulous. The weather was perfect, and we really enjoyed it. So it kind of started out across sort of tracks, and then we went through fields, over the canal, around some country lanes, saw some beautiful properties, and it was just a big circular loop starting out around the edge of the mere or lake, through the woods, and then, as I say, around various terrain. But it was absolutely lovely, and we really, really enjoyed that. And actually this week on Thursday we are going to meet up with my lovely niece one of my lovely nieces and her husband. So they're down further from us. We're going to kind of meet in the middle. Yeah, so we can meet. They're probably 2 to 3 hours away from us. So if we meet in the middle, we're going to have a nice walk. So I might have some nice pictures to show you next month from that. And I know I mentioned in the last Ponderings that I was going to be going to the Malvern Autumn Show. So I try and go every year. The only years I missed were obviously during the height of the pandemic, when we couldn't go at all. It didn't happen. So it was wonderful to be there. There's a whole bunch of YouTubers were there. And what was really nice was, to just actually, see, because we often chat with each other, we interact with each other. We might chat on the phone or social media or various other ways of communicating, messaging, emails. But to just sit down together and have we sat and had lunch together, and we wandered around and looked at various things. It was a really, really lovely day, and I really enjoyed it. The sun shone. It was absolutely perfect. I normally like to tell you about the theatre, but we just haven't been. Again, busy, heads down. So I really do need to sit down. Probably now, I did have a little look, but we kind of missed booking things, and then there was only the kind of more expensive tickets left. So it won't be long before the spring programme is out. I know we're a long way till spring, but the programme will come out and we can pre-book things. We might see something that we might like to go and see between now and then, but I'm going to make a real concerted effort to pre-book, because we love going to the theatre and we've really, really missed it. There was something on recently which I'd intended to pre-book and forgot, and then at the last minute there were still some tickets left, but they were just out of our price range. It was with Miles Jupp, and I really like him. I listen to him a lot on Radio 4. I think he's done stuff on the telly as well, but I like listening to him, and it would have been nice to have seen him live. But yeah, the tickets were just, I'd missed the cheaper ones, so cheapskates that we are. we didn't book for that, so we've missed that one. But I say I'll look for something we can go and see. And at the moment, I think that's pretty much all that's going on here on the farm and in Rue's life. So thank you so much for watching. Do let me know what you've been up to, what you've been reading, and where you've been. If you've got any recommendations of books or something to watch, do let me know. I love to see your comments and see what you've all been up to. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you all again